Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast. Introducing your host from New York, here is Sam Roberts.
I guess we've spoken recently, but it's the first time in a long time we've sat down and recorded something. Titus O'Neil is here. Titus.
What's going on, man?
What's the haps, man?
Not much. Just getting ready for Raw 25.
Yeah.
25th anniversary, longest running episodic television show in television history.
Would you kind of think back now, amazed, because you've now been with the company for a long time. I think a lot of people don't realize quite how long you've been there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you think like, wow, it's been like, is it these moments that makes you realize how long you've been there, how much you've seen, how much you've really done?
Yeah, I mean it's actually pretty astonishing to me for a guy that didn't have plans on doing this at all, to have the tenure I've had up to this point, and to be able to see the things that I've seen. Not just at WrestleMania, but like small moments like the 800 show or 900 show or something like that, and now the 25th anniversary. See guys come back, see Undertaker come back, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock. Not saying that they're going to be on the all going to be on the 25th.
But you see him come in and out.
I see him come in and out, and these are guys that I watched a lot throughout college, and during my younger years, and to see now that I'm working with them and working in a company that's kind of helped set the precedent for a lot of things, from a social media standpoint to cameras. The XFL is a large reason as to why certain camera angles are shot in other sports now. Yeah,
wasn't it amazing? You watched the XFL 30 for 30?
Yes.
And it really did. I thought they did a good job of driving that point home of like, look, the Skyline camera, the mics on the coaches, like all this stuff, because you can say what you want about WWE, whether you like the content or you don't like the content, but in terms of production value,
there's nobody out there better.
Yeah, and the risks they'll take, right? Like this network, the WWE network. Yeah. Now we kind of look at it, well, of course there's a WWE network, and of course there's a million, however many subscribers. Right. But when they announced it, it was like, number one, no company really had a live streaming media service, because this is more than Netflix. You're talking live TV, and we're putting so much behind it that they're like, we're getting out of the pay-per-view business, which has been in the bread and butter for so long. Yeah. So was there any, when decisions like that are made, as much as I'm sure you have faith in the company, are there nerves being like, this is my money, this isn't just the company money, and if we're getting out of the pay-per-view business and this network thing doesn't work, like this is me?
I mean, honestly, I hadn't been with the company that long to kind of see that business aspect of it.
I see.
So for me, it was just like, oh, we got something new. How's this going to affect me as a performer? Some people were worried about the pay, which deservedly so. But for me, like, how can I utilize this to become even a bigger personality in the company? If you have your own network, then that means they're going to need tons of content, because nobody's going to sit there and watch wrestling all day long. So you need variety, you need different things. And so for me, I looked at it as like, what can I do to kind of help make this transition even easier for me as a performer, be able to show myself in a different light, host a show. There have been several performers that have hosted shows on the network, be a part of shows that are on the network. And so for me, it's always been about, if the company is expanding, how can I expand with the company?
Did you pitch any things?
Yeah, I pitched a few things. None of them, I just ride along would probably be the only thing that I would think that, me and Darren talked about, because we just used to have so much fun on the road. Yeah. And next thing you know, is a show called Ride Along, and we never appeared on the episode yet. So, I wanted to do something because I have so many contacts in sports, where especially, and it was at the same time that SEC Network was doing something in the summer, in the leading up to football season, where I would go to different campuses and, talk a little bit of wrestling, but kind of bring a different perspective about sports and entertainment in general interview some of the coaches, interview some of the players. There would always be some aspect of wrestling brought up, but it'd
Sure.
be more so a different show because, like I say, nobody wants to really just watch wrestling all day long. You want to learn the social views on certain, from certain different people.
Sure.
You want to learn things about finances from certain people, how to manage your finances. People that like to cook. I like to cook.
Mm-hmm.
I like to dress. So I want to talk to people that like to do things outside of their sport, Martellus Bennett is one of those guys that does things outside of sports. That and a lot of guys in the NFL that are artists or entertainers or musicians, and they're very good at what they do, but because they wear a helmet, shoulder pads, and jerseys, a lot of times people don't get to see that side of them, much like with us as performers.
Yeah. So is that something you're sympathetic to? Because I think it's even more so with wrestlers than other athletes, because you guys portray characters that are either using your real names or using names that we believe to be your real names, right? Like the idea still with WWE is that on some level there is no separation between person and character.
Right.
And so, as far as any of us fans are concerned, your number one priority is just being the head of Titus Worldwide, right? Like we don't see that. So I think it's probably worse in the world of wrestling than it is in athletics.
Definitely. We come with a lot of stereotypes, a lot more stereotypes than most sports, simply because of, historically speaking, we have been the crazy renegade type people, and there were issues in the past with, rock and roll lifestyles and stuff like that.
Right.
But, as I tell people all the time during interviews or in public or in private, I feel like I work with some of the best human beings in the world, and the most respectful human beings in the world. Some of them may not, see things too far outside of the wrestling or the walls of wrestling just because it's all they've consumed their lives with.
Yeah.
But they're great human beings. They're great people. They understand that we have a multi-billion-dollar company to represent, but more importantly, as individuals, we got to represent ourselves. We're all independent contractors. And we're all building brands. My brand just happens to be the number one brand in WWE right now.
So, and there's also, of course, the stigma with wrestlers not being taken seriously when compared to other athletes.
Right.
Right, because of scripting or whatever.
Right.
Do you find that to be the case with athletes, or is that just do athletes generally get it at this point that wrestling is this whole other subset of athleticism, the skills that you need to be to pull this off?
Yeah, believe it or not, I speak at a lot of college campuses and NFL campuses, and NBA teams as well, and they all have a genuine respect for it. They don't understand a lot of stuff, so they ask a lot of questions all the time. Questions that I was asking before I got into the business too. I was asking Dave, is this fake?
Batista,
Dave Batista. Do y'all really do this? And when this happens, so I had the same questions, but then the respect level of what we do, and then when they find out, you guys don't have because the number one question is, well, when are your days off, or when is your off season? And I look at them, I'm like, we don't have an off season.
Right.
And our off days are usually 1 to 2 days a week, and we're usually working 3 to 5 days a week. And we're not just working.
And that's just forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not just doing it, within the United States. I could be in New York City today and be in Abu Dhabi tomorrow.
Sure.
And they were like, wow, we didn't know that, I say, of course. And you don't know that we're doing a show in New York and then driving to Philadelphia and driving there and then driving there, or flying across the country, all in successive days. And it's hard for people to grasp, I just saw him on television, but then he's in Tampa now.
Right. And the television's all live.
Right.
It's not like you can bank a whole bunch of TV at the beginning of the month and just go. Was that tough for you when you first got in, to realize, say your first WrestleMania, and then you realize Raw is tomorrow? There is no, because there is this feeling, right? WrestleMania is the culmination of a year's worth of hard work, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the next year starts the next night.
Correct.
So it's not like there's ever a moment of.
No, it's like we're getting ready for the Royal Rumble, right?
Right. But so you go, and this has been on my mind. It's Raw 25 is like Raw 25, Raw 25. Yeah, but the Royal Rumble's in 6 days. Then it's going to be like it doesn't.
It never stops. So,
Right.
And that's what I think that's one of the driving points to all of us as performers. It's like, okay, I may not have did anything last week, but next thing you know, I could literally go in today and, you're going to be our next Intercontinental Champion, or you're going to be our next Tag Team Champion, or you're going to be our next World Heavyweight Champion. Like, nobody ever knows, and that's the beauty of it. It's like, but if you keep plugging away, and having good moments on a consistent basis, you get placed with more opportunities and hopefully take advantage of those opportunities.
So is that how you stop yourself from being complacent? It's like, look, this is the one company in the world where the one thing we know is we're going to have shows. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of shows, which means at some point, even if I don't feel like I'm getting opportunity right now, it's going to come back around.
Well, I have a different take, and I think I learned this probably maybe a year or two of this. It's like, it's predetermined, right? So if they want, they can make this cup the WWE World Universal Champion.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So knowing that, but also knowing that I'm a college graduate, 2-time college graduate, I could go and do a million other things and make really good money. I've invested my money very well. If I come to work and they tell me I have a match, great. If they tell me I don't have a match, well, I'm going to go to .com people, and I'm going to try to figure out what I can do on social media.
So you'll go to them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because the thing of it is, I came to work.
Right.
You know, I didn't come to just eat catering, or I didn't come to just spend money on a hotel and not do anything. So while I'm gone, I have 2 sons. They're now, when I started this, my kids were 3 and 5. They're now 11 and 13.
Wow. And
I'm missing football games sometimes. I'm missing basketball games. I'm missing birthday parties. I'm missing Christmas on some occasions. I would be a fool not to come to work every day with the idea of, you know what, I'm going to find something that I can do to make myself better as a performer and to enhance the product of the WWE.
So even if you don't get something on air one day.
Right.
You're still going to spend the evening like trying to find some way to at least know when you go to bed that night, well, this is going to help me somewhere. Well, I watch this and talk to this person about that and am learning this new trait, something like that.
Yeah, it's just using your platform. Like, I know I can cause a whole lot of trouble with this thing.
Yeah.
Or I can cause a whole lot of change. It's just a decision that I need to make. And that trouble is 9 times out of 10 based on not how I feel, but what I believe. So if I believe something, and it may be, may not be the total belief of everyone else, that's fine. It's what I believe, and I'm willing to go, to whatever grave that is considered, your career grave or whatever. And I think a lot of people are just scared to be themselves, be authentic, be who you are. I think that's what translates with me, no matter where I go, is that I'm not going to compromise who I am for the sake of, saving face for other individuals or whatever it may be. To me, if I put a little bit of poop in this water, would you drink it? Just a little bit.
No.
Right. So
no, I'm not.
Yeah. So if I put a whole lot of poop in here, you still wouldn't drink.
Definitely
the water.
not.
Either way.
No.
So the truth is the truth.
Right.
There's no.
I'm not drinking poop water.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
So that's how I feel about truth. I feel like I don't have to, and how I feel about being me, and how I feel other people should be, especially when you have a platform like we have. It gives you an opportunity to really help change a lot of people's lives and encourage folks.
How long did it take you to get comfortable in your role as a WWE superstar and really feel like I have a grip on what this thing is? Because I mean that's the key, right? You can't be good at it unless you can really wrap your arms around it and figure out what is this thing that I'm doing.
I think the number one thing is that I just decided, you know what, I'm going to have fun at this job.
Right.
If they're going to pay me to go out and have fun, it's going to be physical at times. It's going to be entertaining at times. It's going to be very upsetting at times. And sometimes it's going to be very exhilarating.
Right.
And I know that I'm going to go through this roller coaster because I'm in the entertainment industry, just like a musician may be at the top year in 2015 and then 2016 you never heard anything, and then 2019 all of a sudden they're back on top again. For me, it's always been about consistency, and I feel like it doesn't matter if I was a WWE superstar. It doesn't matter if I was in the NFL and starting quarterback. It doesn't matter if I was a head football coach at the University of Florida or Texas or wherever. I'm going to be who I am, period. Right. And fortunately, who I have become due to the fact that people invested in me when they had nothing to gain in return as a youth. I've been able to help change a lot of lives, raise a lot of money, send a lot of kids to college, help a lot of families. And to me, that's being, a role model, period. As a father, as a son, as a brother, as a teammate, as a coworker. For me, it's not about being a WWE superstar. It's about being a good human being. WWE superstars what I do for a living. It's not who I am for a living.
Right. Who invested in you as a young person?
First and foremost, the Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranches. I went to a place called the Florida Sheriff's Boys Ranch when I was 12 years old, and up to that point, I'd been told I'd be dead or in jail by the time I was 16 because I got in trouble a lot, bullied people, got bullied.
You're a big kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, big, skinny kid.
But tall.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you grew up in like a rough neighborhood?
Yeah, I grew up in the projects. So,
right.
Yeah. My mom was raped at a very young age, at 11, had me at 12.
Wow.
And so we kind of bounced from family member to family member's home, and, subsequently homeless at times too. And so.
But this fight for survival thing was like built into you.
Yeah.
There was it's not, I think a lot of us who kind of have more traditional upbringings, like, yeah, we're willing to work for it, but the idea of literally fighting for survival is not built in to us, right?
Right.
And
well, not only that, also learning how to work with what you have.
Right.
Because that's the only option you have.
Right.
And there were a lot of times when my mom was faced with, are we going to eat tonight or are we going to keep the lights on? And we needed to eat.
Right.
But we also needed lights because it was cold. We needed heat, so we'll wait till we go to school in the morning to eat. We need to pay this light bill.
Right.
A lot of people aren't faced with that situation that I cross paths with, but then there are many that share even worse stories.
Sure.
That I grew up with. And so for me, it's just really, I think, like I say, if all four of us that are in this room were sitting in a hospital, and I always equate this to people protesting or people wanting to be political. I'm not a political person. Mm-hmm. I vote, but I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican or Independent. Doesn't matter to me. Let's do what's right because it's right. Mm-hmm. But if all four of us were sitting in the room, not one time would I ask this gentleman, well, how much money did you make last year?
Right.
If we're all sitting in the room and all of our moms are suffering and we're trying to figure out how are we going to help save our moms from suffering from breast cancer or dying from breast cancer? You could care less what religion I practice, whether he's gay or straight, whether I'm, black, white, purple, or what I'm mixed with, or where I went to college. We're all there for the same reason, which is, man, we want to try to save our mom.
Isn't that amazing? Like when it comes down to it, there is that thing built into us as people that we can be just human beings and recognize that. But it's like, I feel like even more and more these days, until people get pushed to that point, they don't want to. I don't know if they want to, if there's just not those complications, so they need this sort of complicated dynamic in their lives. They need to have an enemy. I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's one of those things that now reaches across the board.
It's very unfortunate for the society to, to be the way that it is, but here's the reality that I've come to find. Unless it affects certain people economically, it's not an issue. And if it's not a tragedy, it's not an issue. Or if it's not personal, it's not an issue. When it becomes personal to certain people, so if I take, for instance, my kids go to a school in a pretty affluent area. If it was freezing cold and my kids' AC or the heat was not working well in the school, and they still got forced to go to school, I guarantee you the majority of people that live in my neighborhood around my area would be raising hell down at City Hall.
Sure.
But just across town, if they're dealing with the same situations, people are looking from my neighborhood most of the times and saying, "Oh, those poor people. Oh, those poor people. Somebody should do something about that." Well, because your kid's not involved.
Right. You're waiting for somebody else.
Waiting for somebody else to do it. No, if it's wrong for my kids in my kids' school, then it's wrong for those kids across town in their school and those parents. And it's what tripped me out about the whole NFL protest thing, which I was over it well before it really got going.
Yeah.
Because I felt like if you were going to protest, you should have did it when Colin Kaepernick first took a knee.
Not now that it's this big story.
Yeah, it's because now you've made it. It's so many people have made it so much more than it actually was started about. It was started about police brutality and the injustices in the justice system. And for some reason or another, along the line, which is what media and people do, it became a race issue. It became an issue about the military. It became an issue about patriotism. And the reality of it is that if you really look at the NFL as a whole, I mean, it's 10 years that they've been actually doing the anthem at stadiums. And they were being paid $4 million plus to do so by the military. And so are we really showing patriotism, or are we doing what we're paid to do?
Right.
Because everybody that, when the national anthem comes on, there are people that are still getting beers and popcorn and peanuts.
Just talking about that today, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, are you really that patriotic, or are you just looking for something?
If you're in the bathroom, are you running out of the bathroom so you can get into your seat so you can put your hand on your heart, or are you going to finish up in the bathroom?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I've always, looked at things in a different light just because I grew up in a different light. And I grew up, meeting people from all different walks of life. And the one, like you say, the one thing that we all have in common is that when we want to be good people, we can do it. Did you go to Houston when the hurricane hit?
No.
Did you donate to any fund when the hurricane hit to help those that are in need?
I don't think so. Yeah. No.
All right. I'm sure somebody around in your family probably text a number to donate $5.
Sure.
To a cause. Did some kind of collection.
Sure.
So even though people didn't live in Houston, they were sending money, water,
right. I see
resources
what you're saying. Yes.
from everywhere. Right. And they don't know any of these folks in Houston. They didn't have family members. They didn't have anything. But because of the issue, because of the circumstances of these people, we generally overall say, you know what, and some of these people didn't have $5 to give, and they still gave it.
They still did it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like.
So how do you raise your kids? Because now your kids are coming from a place of privilege that you never had as a kid,
right?
And that not coming from a place of privilege has, obviously so many things that are detractors from it, but there is this life sense that you can get from it that can be a huge benefit. And I'm sure feelings of entitlement that you might see from other people that you just don't have because that's not how you were raised. How do you raise your kids in a way to be like, look, it's my job to give you the best of everything that I can possibly give you, but I need you to know this isn't just to be taken for granted.
Right. Well, my kids are very involved with a lot of stuff that I do from a charity aspect.
Well, I see you on Facebook. I feel like every couple of days you have a new charity thing that you're doing, and every time it's like a pretty big deal.
Yeah. So they understand my background and where I came from. The story's been told numerous times, but and this may seem like a little biased just because I'm going to isolate it to race.
Yeah.
In this instance, but I've always wanted to be to all people what the stereotypes of an African American male are not. I wanted to be the reverse. I didn't want to be a person that was viewed as uneducated. I didn't want to be viewed as a person that was in jail. And I didn't want to, most importantly, be viewed as a person that was an absent father.
Right.
Even though that happens in other races as well, for some reason or another, it's highlighted with us. And so for my kids, they understand that we have 3 rules in my home. The first rule is love and respect everybody you come in contact with. You may not agree with them, you may not even like them, but you love them and you respect them. Rule number 2 is that we don't use the word can't. And that's for 2 reasons. The first reason is from a biblical sense. The Bible says that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So if I'm reading the Bible and I'm trying to live by the things that are in that word to motivate, inspire, and encourage other people, then that should be the number one thing that I present to people all the time. Like, it should not be an option. And then on the flip side of that, from a worldly sense, I was told my entire life what I would never be able to do, what I can't do. And I've done that 10,000 times better than I ever thought I would have ever done it. Mm-hmm. And then number 3 is always be your best. Your best may be a C on the test one day, it may be a D on the test, maybe an F. But if I know and you know that you gave your best effort, then nobody can ever be disappointed. And so my kids have the freedom to be who they are as individuals, right? As long as they're being the best person that they can possibly be. I think the examples that I've set with how I care for those in need and the elderly and those that are disabled, homeless. I mean, they've seen so many cases of how to treat people that now they're those people. You know, I get phone calls and text messages all the time like, hey, I met your son today on the elevator, and he was one of the most polite people I ever met in my life. Every WWE superstar, man or woman, that you speak to or you ever speak to say, oh, he's got the greatest kids in the world. That's the biggest compliment to me as a father that I could ever have. Mm-hmm. And they know that. So their biggest, fear is not ever getting a whooping. I don't have to beat my kids or whoop my kids. Their biggest, and which is mine also to them, is I don't want to disappoint them and they don't want to disappoint me.
Right.
And that's because of the respect level and the love that we have for one another. It's okay for a man to say, I love you. It's okay for a man to hug another man. It's okay for a man to cry. And they've seen that from the man that they view as their hero. And I've always wanted to be my kid's hero because I never grew up with a hero.
Right.
Well, not as a father.
Right. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So if I can duplicate good things over a period of time, then hopefully my kids can do that too, and they are.
So how did you get into WWE? Because you said you never foresaw this for yourself. You didn't see it going this way. You had familiarity with the product. You watched it in college and
mm-hmm.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you were a fan on that level.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you end up being a superstar yourself?
Well, it's no secret that Dave Batista is like a brother to me.
Right.
Truly one of my closest friends.
Have you seen? Who is he now that he's become? This big movie star.
He's still the same dude.
Same dude.
Same dude.
Isn't that the best?
That's why we've remained close. I mean, long before WWE, mm-hmm. and we'll always be close. So he's an uncle to my kid. My kids call him Uncle Dave.
So before WWE, he's the same guy as when he goes to WWE and skyrockets to fame and becomes a champion and all this stuff. Yep. Is the same guy when he goes out of WWE and becomes an even bigger star through the Marvel universe and acting.
Yep.
That's the same Dave that you knew from the beginning.
Nothing's changed.
That's an amazing thing.
Yep. I pick up my phone anytime, and he'll pick up his phone anytime, text me out of nowhere, hey, how are you? And I do the same, and happy birthday. I text him the other week, and I was just with him the week before eating lunch. And one day I was driving to South Tampa to get to the story of how I got into the business. I was driving to South Tampa to go pick up a pair of dress shoes. It's Brighton Plaza, which is off of Del Mabry in Tampa. It's literally like right down the street from FCW at the time, which was developmental, which is now NXT. And I just so happened to drive past the building on my way back home. And Dave had told me, where it was and things like that and what color it was if I ever wanted a chance to go down there, who to speak to and stuff like that if I ever wanted to take a look at it. So I was down there getting a pair of dress shoes and picked up the telephone and said, Dave, is this the place you were talking about me going to, or where you guys train and get treatment and stuff at? Me? He was like, yeah. And I said, well, I'm going to poke my head in the back door and, see what it's about. And 2 weeks after I poked my head in the back door, I was in the ring, bumping around, learning how to become a WWE superstar. And that happened in the end of 2009. And
then you end up on the NXT TV show, which was that weird, like,
3 months
hybrid.
In. 3 months
3
in.
months in.
3 months in.
So that had to be crazy because...
And I was at home in Tampa.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it had to be nuts because you can go back now, and I've watched some of it. You can go back on the network. It kind of shocked me that they put those seasons of NXT on the network, but they did. They're all up there. Yeah. And like anybody you talk to about that era of that show just talks about what complete chaos it was. Yeah. Nobody, especially the young guys like you, had any clue what was going on. You'd get in the ring, you'd have no idea what the plan was. Yeah. Like, as a guy who is 3 months in the business, I mean, what kind of head trip is that? Are you going like, is this what this is?
Yeah, and I had spoken on numerous occasions in the public.
Right.
And then that first promo, and it's like, if you're going to win, make it a win. Like that was my tagline.
Because
for a while.
You just get thrown like, all right, do a promo. And you're like, what? I didn't know we had to, but we're on live TV.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're going to win.
And then I dropped the keg.
Right. And you're this giant man. Like, you can hold a keg.
Yeah. It's just, I'm doing it in wrestling boots.
Right.
And it's like.
And you've only been 3 months in wrestling boots, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even in that case, like, not even a full 3 months in wrestling boots because
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
are you gonna go to the first day of camp, show up with boots already? Who do you think you are?
Yeah. Or like that's like coming to football. You never played football a day in your life, and then they're like, "All right, we're gonna put you in the game." You're like, "You don't want to do what?"
Yeah.
And we're gonna start you at quarterback too. So it's like. Yeah, it was. But I'm thankful for that moment.
So when you have moments like that, I guess dropping the keg is a little forgivable, but if you're gonna win, make it a win.
Yeah,
like
I made it a win. There are a lot of people that were in the company at that time that didn't want to help me.
Okay.
That were, rude as hell to me.
Yeah. And is that just because you were new, because you were big?
Yeah, exactly. I was a threat.
Sure.
And they're nowhere near even the business of wrestling now.
Really?
Yeah. Some of them still are, doing their thing, and I wish all of them well. I'm not one that I get it. It's an environment that I've never been in, but it's one of those things where like people say, "Well, do you feel like you made a mistake sometimes?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't," because, or they ask me the common question is, "Well, what's next?" And I say, "Well, I could have my plan, and God can have something completely opposite of me because I had zero plans of being in WWE."
Right.
Literally legit told Dave, "No, I'm good."
So when something like this happens, right? Once you realize this is my life now, I'm a WWE superstar, is that kind of the moment where you're like, I need to stop making plans like I know what's going to happen?
Well, no, yeah, you don't. It's not that you stop making plans. I'm prepared. If I walked into work today, right, and they say, "Well, we're gonna have to let you go," I'm not worried at all.
Right.
Everybody in that locker room is not in that position. But
right.
if I walked away, and I'm going to go somewhere and make really good money.
Right.
I'm not even, my house is paid off. I don't have to do this for money. It never has been my motivation. So for me, I can feel comfortable day in and day out. Oh, you want me to put on a wig and a fake mustache or whatever and make a fool of myself? It's entertainment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. There's
certain things that I won't do, even in the realm of entertainment, because I'm just not gonna do it.
But you don't take yourself that seriously.
But no. I mean, it's entertainment. At the end of the day, that's what you're getting paid to do, and have fun doing it. Like, if it's fun to you, if it's fun to the people around you, then when people watch it on TV, they're gonna be like, "Man, I enjoyed that."
Right.
You know, and that's really what the end game is like.
Yeah, you just want to resonate with people.
Yeah.
However it takes.
You could be the best singer in the world or the best musician in the world. If people are not following along with you, you know, calling and repeating with you and your songs, you're not gonna be a musician or an entertainer for long.
So then after that, you go and you do the Primetime Players with Darren Young, and that was, to me, and I felt it at the time. I probably talked to you about it before because I think I interviewed you a couple times in that era. But like, I feel like that tag team did more than anybody expected you guys to, and I felt like it was because you guys just decided to commit to it more than other people would. You were making your own shirts. Yeah. You were adding little gimmicks like the Afro pick. Yeah. You were doing the dancing and stuff, and it all felt, and again, I'm just a spectator. But as a spectator who's been a spectator for as long as I have, watching that, it felt like most of that was stuff that you guys just made up and did.
It is.
Right.
100%.
That's the vibe that I got from it.
And you know, I used to say this thing is we didn't land on the WWE app. The WWE app didn't land on us. We landed on the WWE app.
Yeah.
Because when it first came out, every single week we were making sure that we did something on the app,
That was when they would run, like, during the commercial breaks, they would try to get you to turn on the iPhone app.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of people didn't want to do it because it's extra.
It's extra work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we embraced it.
Right.
It's just no different than anything else. It's like, okay, and so a lot of times, because of the WWE app, we ended up getting stuff on to Monday Night Raw or SmackDown.
So what, you do something funny on the app and then they show it to Vince and whoever else is making the decisions, and they go, yeah, we should do this on TV.
Yeah, or it gets traction on social media some kind of way, and as we all know, the world of social media can make or break some people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's just, again, it's embracing whatever is given to you and taking advantage of it.
So when the primetime players break up, is that a nerve-wracking thing in the sense that
the first time or the second time?
The first time, because the second time you were probably ready because you did it once already.
Yeah,
but the first time,
the first time was very unceremoniously done, and neither one of us were very happy about it at all.
Right.
Because we felt like we had so much more to offer, and if we just got given those opportunities, like we could have filled that void that was left when Team Hell No, was split up,
in the sense that you're a tag team that can work matches but be the entertainment thing.
Correct. Like, so that's a piece that I, that's probably a piece of my career that I will look back, and if anybody said, well, what's something that you wish was a little different, I would say, had we won the titles during the first time we were together, I think it would have been more meaningful when we did break up.
Right.
But we won the titles the second time, so I can say I'm in the history books as a champion in the WWE, WWE Tag Team Champion. And I got a chance to do it with one of the legit good guys in this business. That is a real friend to me.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he's not with us today, but I still talk to him, and kids still talk to him. So it's definitely one of those, man, we could have did so much more, but man, I'm so thankful for what we did do.
Yeah. And I actually do feel like there was potential to do more, but you've also always been pretty good about, even when people are like, oh, that's Titus, he's not really doing anything. Mm-hmm. Within a certain amount of time, you just pull something out where people are like, what's he doing over there? And it draws attention again. Mm-hmm. What happened, it was a while ago at this point, but you got the 30-day 60-day suspension.
Yeah.
And again, this was way before I had any sort of information, but all the internet said was they showed the clip of you kind of holding Vince McMahon's arm at the end of that episode of Raw, and the next thing we know, Titus is gone for 60 days because he manhandled or whatever it was.
Yeah, it wasn't manhandling.
Right.
But it was, I guess I touched the boss in an inappropriate way at an inappropriate time.
Because it was live television.
Yeah, I don't know what the specific reason is.
Mm-hmm.
But, I literally legit said, ladies first, because I was trying to let Stephanie go. And I didn't think it was a big deal, but it ended up being a big deal. But it's, people ask me all the time, well, do you feel, and I'm going to go on record saying this just to clear the air about a lot of questions that were asked at that time. The number one question was, or number one saying that was said at the time was that Vince is racist, which is so far from the truth. If Vince McMahon was racist, I would not be a part of this company. Point blank, period. I don't need to check that bag.
Right.
Quite honestly, me and Vince have a very, very good relationship. Even today, we both share very similar idols in Muhammad Ali and Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King. And he loves entertainment and quirky stuff, and I love entertainment and quirky stuff. And he's provided a living for not only myself, but for many people long before me from all walks of life, both inside and outside of the business of professional sports and entertainment. That's from backstage people to production people to people that are sitting home in their living rooms. He's provided a platform for them to escape their realities and entertainment. He's filled arenas all over the world, legitimately all over the world, with people from all walks of life to come in and watch this wonderful product that we call the WWE, right? So that's the first thing, that Vince is not a racist,
right?
Secondly, the other question is, did I feel like it could have been handled in a different manner? Well, I probably could have did something different myself. Maybe I should have just stood back and just let everything go as it goes. Who knows, but at the end of the day, that happened, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm still here today.
Not only are you still here, but you're in a great spot.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You're probably in a better spot now than you were 2 years ago today.
Exactly.
So
So when people, do I feel like I think the wrestling business has had its issues with race and the portrayal of race and stereotypes, and it's not just with African Americans or Hispanics, but overall, period. That's entertainment in general, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you go through the history of film,
entertainment,
yeah.
film, period.
Yeah.
There are people fighting right now for equality.
Absolutely, in Hollywood. That's
Hollywood,
all anybody's talking about. Yeah.
Equality for women, equality for minorities, equal pay, whatever, this and that. So it's only an issue when people want to make it an issue.
Mm-hmm.
I never looked at it as making it an issue about whether or not I was black, white, purple, or whatever. I did this, and this is what happened. So when I go home and I talk to my kids, and they say, "Well, that was messed up," I say, "You know what? Hey, this is life."
You take the L.
Yeah,
and
take
you move,
the L
and you go
move
forward.
Yeah, and there's a certain way that you move forward.
And do you come back after that and apologize and say, like, I want to make sure we're on a good spot?
I mean, that's we both had a conversation when we came back, and I mean, I remember after finishing up the conversation, I was like, let's get ready to go to work, and it's always customary for me to shake his hand and hug him. And I got ready to pull him in to hug him, and I said, "I can go get suspended if I hug you." And he just, no, let's get ready to go to work, So it was just, I mean, some people call him crazy. I think he's crazy at some point. He's a genius in a lot of ways, but I genuinely love Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
he's a good man.
So the Titus brand.
Titus Worldwide.
Titus Worldwide.
Yeah.
Worldwide
yeah.
has brought you to this whole new place. And I really, I kind of enjoyed it from the beginning because I feel like there are only a few things in wrestling, especially now, that are, relevant and resonate in a way that this is what the culture, whatever pop culture, whatever the culture means, this is what people in culture are doing. This is what every athlete is doing, and it's this sort of cheesy, creating a brand that doesn't actually mean anything. What is it? Well, it's the Titus brand. Of course. It's Titus Worldwide. It's the global entertainment brand of Titus O'Neil. But what? Yeah. You should join. Oh, okay, I'll join. I just thought from that level, it was kind of genius because it hadn't been done before.
Right.
It's taking the role of manager or, stable that a manager has and completely putting, a 2017, 2018 twist on it.
Yeah.
Did people get it at first? Was it pitched to you or did you pitch it?
No. So I actually wanted to do this 2 years ago.
Okay.
Because I like sports, every aspect of sports. So press conferences, I've always wanted to have my own press conference, and so that's kind of where Titus Worldwide started with the branding and all that. Was I'd have these press conferences where only one person of the media would show up, and
it would just be one of the backstage
reporters. Yeah, and they half-ass be paying attention, and then I ask them a question, and if I didn't like the response to the question, I'd respond no differently than any coach or entertainer or athlete would in that time, is completely turn it around on them. And it's just always fun to me. Terrell Owens did it all the time. And me and him having the same initials. I just had so many different things that I had in my mind. So when they told me that they were going to put Tozawa with me and Apollo, it's it was awesome because now, Tozawa was from a whole nother culture and
right.
You know, extreme amount of respect for the athleticism and everything that comes with Apollo Crews. Just knowing how he was introduced to the WWE universe and things like that, and knowing how he is backstage, I'm like, dude, you need to be this dude on camera because that's what people are going to remember.
Right.
And then now adding Dana Brooke just brings a whole nother element to it and a lot more fun.
I do love that Apollo went from looking at you like, what are you doing? This is stupid, to now like fully committed to Titus Worldwide.
Yeah. It's like a transition, right? Yeah. Hopefully Nia Jax will be in the same situation because like right now she's Apollo's partner for the Mixed Match Challenge.
Right. So you're obviously trying to scout.
Yeah. She doesn't really want anything to do with Titus Worldwide, but I mean you can't get one and not get all of us.
No.
You know? So,
I mean I'm just you got to do like when their night of the mixed match challenge comes up. You have to be like throwing shirts on her.
Yeah.
Like Titus Worldwide shirts on her back while she's
put
walking.
A hat on her. Yeah. That's
if they win, throw the hat on her head.
That's how it was gonna be with Apollo when we first started. Started putting all kind of Titus Worldwide gear on him and everything.
Like after like a UFC fight when the sponsors just come in, like, oh, you gotta wear the hat.
Exactly.
They don't even know what they're wearing.
Yeah.
Well, look, man, I think it's amazing what you're doing, and like I said, I mean, I see you on Facebook, and I'm like, this guy doesn't stop ever. The charity stuff that you do is like pretty unbelievable. Where can people find all the information that they need to find about that end of what you're doing?
They can go to embracinglegacy.org. They can also see a lot of stuff through metromen.org, which is a homeless. They help house and support and educate homeless community. United Way Suncoast. All of them are partners with me, along with Hillsborough County School Board, its Sheriff's Office. Most of the stuff you can just see throughout my social media at Titus O'Neil WWE. I share it on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Is my personal, which you have it because you're a personal friend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I like to think I do a pretty good job of letting people know what's going on and what we're doing.
It's really cool to see, like, you know, a lot of people talk the talk, right? Like a lot of people like to talk about how charitable they are, how much they care, how much other people, you need to start doing this, people need to start doing that, but
I call them out though.
You do?
Yeah, all the time. I call them out because my thing is, you know, I don't need a camera to do what I'm going to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's the amazing thing. I mean, this isn't like WWE stuff.
No,
this isn't.
No, I don't need it. I don't need it. People invested in me when they had nothing to gain in return, and people ask me all the time, "How is it that you make so much time to do so much stuff for other people?" And I turn around and say, "How can I not?
Yeah.
How can I not make that time when people made it for me?" And so when people are saying, "Oh, we really want to make a difference," you know, we're gonna go protest. Well, that ain't really making a difference. Protest ain't never helped nobody.
Why don't you actually figure out what the problem is and let's help solve it?
Yeah. And why don't you bring some people together that are gonna like have the same, you know, they might not have the same approach, but they have the same end goal. If your end goal is to put more money into the public school system, then it doesn't matter what color you are, where you come from, what your job title is. Let's go try to get more money put into this, because everything. You know, politicians are going to be who they are. Right. You know, and I'm friends with politicians. And I have a very good relationship with our sheriff. I have a very good relationship with our police chief. Me and the Mayor Bob Buckhorn, they call me the second mayor of Tampa because I have a very good relationship with him as well. And I value those relationships. The superintendent, Jeff Eakins, I always value relationships with people that have an opportunity to help change people's lives, whether that be in entertainment, politics, sports, or just your day-to-day person that says, you know, hey, I don't have 100,000 followers and I don't have $100 million, but I have some time and I want to help you do the things that you're doing because I think they're pretty phenomenal.
Well, Titus, you're making it a win just like we always knew, like you always said you would. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Absolutely.